Hey tankers, and welcome back to World of Tanks with PR154, where today we are following A-Juicy-Man-Nipple of the Renegades clan in the Tier 9 American tank destroyer, the T30. I did have to think about that for a second because it used to be a heavy tank, but it's now a tank destroyer. Quite a versatile one at that, owing to the preservation of its turret. Its gun is quite competent as well, 155mm caliber at the top of its tree. A standard AP penetration of 266mm, and you can change that up to APCR of 320mm, so that's more than adequate at tier 10. It also boasts quite a strong turret. You are going to be needing at least 280mm of penetration to get through the turret cheeks, or maybe the front front gun mantlet on T30. Interestingly, if we get up close, you only have 38mm plate on the roof. So if you have a weapon of 120mm caliber or more, you'll often find you'll be able to do turret penetrations just by purely by overmatching. Of course, that is going to be a bit of a mission to achieve that. So we've got our initial contact with the enemy and with the Carnarvon. Unfortunately, we've only managed a bit of spotting damage there. We've taken a swing, but the standard stuff hasn't been affected. We do have the APCR loaded, and for a much more profound effect on target and quick follow-up destruction by the FV3805 artillery piece. So this is quite an effective position for the T30 to play. It can use its gun depression. It can keep the body of the tank nice and low, and it can also engage the tank destroyers that are known to frequent this sort of area. As there's at least the Strizvan S1 in there to contend with. As the fights develop, though, we can see the enemy has brought their Object 279E. They've done a 8-line push all the way. They're about to break through. Now, Juicy-Man-Nipple has realised this and is moving to counter. Shortly off reloading, and the side of it, he'll have no trouble penetrating that, even with the standard stuff loaded. Even sets the Object 279E on fire. Not wanting to mess around because this is quite a significant enemy push that's come through the 8-line. He does have the premium APCR loaded. Just tracking this Object 279E. That's another nice meaty hit to the tier 10 reward tank, and that's leaving it in a two-shottable condition for them. But certainly this erosion of hit points from the 279E is going to hopefully allow it to have a much less significant impact on the game. The Conway, unfortunately for them, they've strayed into Juicy-Man-Nipple's line of fire. Juicy-Man-Nipples, I gotta keep trying to maintain a straight face when I say that. It's not entirely work. I'm cracking up on the inside here, folks. Jagdpanzer E100 joins the party. This turns into a bit of a shooting gallery for Juicy-Man-Nipple here, in that he's probably unspotted to all these vehicles at the moment. He's low enough that he's not able to be harassed by whatever's out there. The team's been able to maintain enough control that the enemy hasn't been able to take the top of the Abbey here as well. Object 279E continues its push, although they've been able to spot a Juicy-Man-Nipple. Now he's starting to take a bit of fire. LT-432 from behind and the Object 279E in the front. Lining up on the smaller light tank, at least if Juicy-Man-Nipple can clear their flank, they'll have a much better game. They're able to shut it down thanks to some supporting fire from the hill sector over here. Artillery has found them once again. There's a bit of cap pressure. This ISU 152 is under siege by the Object 279E, and amongst other things. Nice meaty hit into the Jagdpanzer E100. That's we're just collecting a lot of damage here just from that shooting gallery earlier in the game. We're at over 5,500 hit points of damage inflicted now. With many enemy vehicles on the cap circle. Fortunately, there's various vehicles that have made their way back across the top of the ridge, and they're able to get some vision and some pressure into the cap circle. Object 279E is pushing a bit further forward. They want to try to get in and counter some of the vehicles out here, not the least of which is going to be A-Juicy-Man-Nipple. Still can't quite bite that that frontal plate of the Object 279E, however. We've only got 2 premium rounds left. Once you start getting back to the standard stuff, your chances of punching through the Object 279E really start to come away. It's now just the Jagdpanzer E100 off the cap. The enemy, despite having a significant deficit of hit points, they've decided to go for damage rather than damage and kills rather than a cap out, which they were quite frankly more than capable of achieving. But I'll leave that with them, and it's potentially a game-losing move for them there. Like there's nothing wrong with winning by cap out if you want to be confident in securing the win, but that's their decision, and they're going to have to live with it or die with it. Mwahaha of the in the FV 3805 making a very sneaky escape from their pursuers. They did have an Object 279E and Carnarvon in behind them. Leopard PTA still making all efforts to cap out. It appears the 60 TP has now knocked out the enemy rear guard in the M5355. And that just leaves the cap circle open for A-Juicy-Man-Nipple's team as well. This just leaves the Object 279E and Carnarvon, who, for their own reasons, have pushed off the cap and tried to charge up the hill. Dingleberries, that's his usual username. Juicy-Man-Nipple is that his team has got this more or less under control now. They've got a minute and a half left on the cap. And it looks like the 60 TP has decided to leave the cap and go for the kills. This is probably not the sort of fight that Juicy-Man-Nipple is going to be able to get in and brawl with, but I think he is likely to be one-shottable by the Carnarvon. We've got the 60 TP that's pleading in the chat at the moment. I want to kill all for mission, please. A little bit of discourse in Vietnamese, as is the case occasionally with on the Australian and Southeast Asian servers. But that's the final kill of the game by the 60 TP. They've had a decent game here. They've taken 5 enemy heads. Final score's 15-10. Let's take a look at the results. So for their efforts, that is an Ace Mastery badge in the Tier 9 American Tank Destroyer T30 by A-Juicy-Man-Nipple off the Renegades clan. That was a hell of a lot of damage picked up there, over 6,900, and accordingly they have picked up the high caliber medal. A lot of that is down to just that indomitable defense of the cross, where there were maybe 5 or 6 enemy vehicles that were just crossing out of the 8 line, transitioning towards the cap circle. But I guess in this case the enemy team has snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, having left the cap circle in pursuit of damage and kills, where they really didn't have the hit point pool remaining to be able to sustain a straight up fight. So that was a bit of a silly decision, but it's certainly paid off for A-Juicy-Man-Nipple today. We've also picked up a couple of badges of merit here. We've got the Spotter medal, where A-Juicy-Man-Nipple's enabled allies to cause at least 1,000 hit points of damage by vehicles by spotting actions. We've also picked up a couple of badges of merit here. We've got the Spotter medal for enabling allies to cause 1,000 hit points of damage through damaging vehicles spotted by A-Juicy-Man-Nipple. We've also got the Hand of God medal, where he's received at least 4 penetrating and damaging hits throughout the battle and still survived and won. We've got the Duelist medal, where he's received damage from at least 2 enemy vehicles and he's been able to destroy both those vehicles. There's also the Fire for Effect medal, which goes hand in hand with the High Calibre medal for doing a metric crap ton of damage. Having a look at the team scores, this is a well-deserved top placement by experience points here, followed closely behind by the 60 TP, who had a cracking game there, nearly 6,000 damage inflicted. They've taken 5 kills. Looks like they've blocked a little bit of damage, spotted a little bit as well by the looks of things, but I guess the meat of that experience points will have been attributed to that sheer kill count. We can also see on the enemy team a couple of high scorers here, in particular Coit in the Leopard Prototype A. Having a look at the detailed report, this was quite a costly battle there for A-Juicy-Man-Nipple, which fortunately there was a bit of a personal missions payout here, but ultimately it would have been a deficit of about 23,000 credits. But I mean, I guess that's some of the things that we do for an Ace Mastery badge. I guess it was quite expensive due to the amount of premium ammunition fired, and Juicy-Man-Nipple was really looking for confidence of those penetrating shots when so many enemy vehicles were making that cross towards the cap circle. It was very important that those shots landed where they did. You consider the amount of pramo that was fired at the Object 279E as well, which they'd managed to land 2 of those hits and penetrate successfully. But quite a lot of bounces against the Tier 10 reward vehicle. There was some. It was a bit expensive in terms of the consumables as well. I dare say we're looking at a repair kit as well as the case of cola as well. So in the absence of having those consumables in the depot, there was a bill to be paid at the end of the game. But all in all, very well done there by A-Juicy-Man-Nipple of the Renegades clan. And if you've got a replay that you'd like to share with the community, please reach out over Discord or any of the links below, and we'll do our best to sort you out. In the meantime, take care out there.